object of tonight's show is this little Deltic, which I got from the Aberdeen show in October, and the trader put a price of £10 on it. He said it's not going very well, it's alright if you can do something with it. So trying to hide my excitement, I quietly grabbed it and gave him the tenner before he changed his mind. And as it turned out, it didn't run very well, but it's quite simply a case of the old problem, lack of lubrication. So I just took the cover off and checked everything. The motor runs very well. It's actually a Lima class 55 and it's a very nice runner. But what I'm going to do tonight is, first of all, I'll let you see it running. I've got my little test track here. I'm just going to set it up because they say that if it runs nicely under DC, then it shouldn't run too badly in DCC, and this is what I'm going to try and do tonight. So I'm just putting the power up a little bit, and you can see it's running. The track isn't the best that I've got. I should maybe put some rolling road on. Come on, baby. Oh, that's the track more than the loco. But there you can see that it runs smoothly one way and the other, and that's under DC. Because what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to fit this one with a DCC controller. So let's open up the Deltic and see what she looks like inside. Held on by 4 little clips, one above each bogie on either side. Whoops. This one here and that one there. So aids the screwdriver between the body and the undercarriage, and she just simply clicks out gently, and inside this is what they look like. It's like a ring-filled motor, and the pickups are in this carriage here, with each set of wheels providing one part of the power. I've been reading up on DCC and watching all the great videos on YouTube, so I'm kind of prepared, I hope, as to what is going to happen. I've never dabbled in DCC before. I've always had DC layouts and analog, as people like to call it. So what I found is I managed to pick up a little job lot of used Hornby decoders. Let me try and get them in for you folks. See if I can take the camera out a wee bit. Yes, I got a job lot of used Hornby decoders, which apparently come from working sets. And therefore, I don't know if they're working or not. But I'm going to pick these because it looks as if, although this is N-gauge, these decoders might just fit in here. In fact, I would say that there's a lot of space in this little recess here. So I'm going to now try and fit one of these DCC decoders into here. So I'm going to just take a wee break and set up my DCC power supply, which I am going to use is something I bought again just to try and get me started. I picked up this from eBay very reasonably. I think it was about £30, so I'm quite happy with that. I know it works, so this will at least get me going, and then if I find it successful, I can then splash out and get a new system. And there's so many around at the moment, it'd be difficult to know which one. I'm not going to run more than about 20 locals at any time in any place anywhere, so I really don't need something with a great sophistication. By the way, that's 20 over a period, so I can swap them. So I don't need a lot of addresses. So anyway, let me get this set up. I'll have a look and see how well it goes. I put the Deltic on the track and I put in my DCC select, and I've been told that this will run on 0. So let me just select 0, and this should now run. Which change the direction, and it should now run as well. So it does seem to run, but I'll take it off again very rapidly, because it's advised that although it's possible to run a DC locomotive under DCC with channel 0, that it's not advisable. So I'm going to switch my controller back to channel 3, and if I set these up correctly, they should all be set to the default of channel 3. This is quite well set up because I can disconnect the wires from the track, which now go to the motor, and if I select one of these controllers, and here it is here, because I don't anticipate this having any of the other functions such as lights and sound, I stripped this out and put in fresh wiring, and the saying is red and black from the track, orange and grey the other way. So the orange wire, so the red wire and the black wire are going to come from the track. So these two, whoops, let me just zoom back in again, people. The red and black will be attached to these two contacts, and the orange and grey will be attached to the motor through here, and hopefully this will sit in this recess, naturally with insulation to prevent a short. So first of all, let me just hook it up on a temporary basis and make sure everything works okay. There's also a question of direction, however I will cross that bridge when I get to it. So red and black, from the track. I'm also taking a note of which wire is going to which part of the motor. So I'm taking this left hand contact to go to the orange wire, and the right hand contact is going to go to the grey wire. And I've taken a note of that so that if I need to reverse it, I'll know what combinations I have already used. I'm fairly reliably informed that the order of the black and the red is not as crucial. So let me just put a wee bit more solder on this connection here. Unfortunately, we understand this is just a temporary arrangement. Keep this stuck up in the air to prevent shorts, and this one's come loose again, so just give me, sorry, did somebody mention the word rehearsal? That's a great idea. Live show with rehearsals. Okay, take this one out of the way. My thinking is that these wires are very fragile where they meet the board, so I'm being very careful with them. So let's make sure this is installed on the track correctly. I love using these Pico track aligners. Right, so I've got it on. Make sure that I've got channel 3 selected. I've selected to go to the left, so if I've done this correctly, this should move to the left. And it is. Now I'm going to move it to the right. It's honest, my test track is just not very good, so let's try again. Lovely. So something which I should have done at the beginning. This will be getting cut out. And take 2. So I've wired the decoder up, red and black from the track, orange and grey the other way, and now I'll put it onto my test track and see how she goes. I love these little Pico track placer runners, saves you worrying about the wheels. So on my select, I selected to go to the right. So if this is done correctly, when I turn the power up, this should move to the right. And it is. Now go the other way, and you can see I'm hardly applied power and she's still going. The track maybe needs a wee bit of attention, but there it is. Oh, that's nice. Let's go the other way. Come on. Yeah, that's good. That's just a little bit of old track. Now, those of you into DCC will of course know that this is the basic channel 3, so that all decoders come pre-programmed. If I intend to have more than one, I better change the number. So I'm going to have a little pause, look out the manual, and I'll reset this for another channel number. Well, this is a Hornby Select manual, and I want to reprogram the local. And when you look through it, it actually says under second local programming. I thought it had been set under reprogram, but this is what it says. So I'm going to follow the instructions, and I'm going to make this one, for no better reason, it's a class 55, I'm going to make it 5. So I shall just work through the process. I've got the locomotive on the track. I press and hold the select button for 2 seconds. The LCD will flash with LA, and then I press 1. Actually, I'm going to press 5, and it comes up with 5, and then it should go to 0, 5. Oh, We'll flash 1, press select button, the red light's flashing away, and then it goes to 05. So this should now still operate my locomotive. I want it to go to the right. Sorry. Yep. So I'm going to turn it up, and there it goes. Put it to the left. Oops, come on. It's come off the edge of the track. There we go. And there it goes. And to show that that's fully programmed, I'm going to put it back to 3 and then try and operate it. And as you can see, the locomotive is stationary unless I select 5 again, and now it can operate as I intend it to. Come on. Lovely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tidy up this here, get it seated properly, get it insulated, and then we'll try it on the main track. Well folks, I've installed the decoder. I've put the red and the black from the track, the orange and the grey the other way. I've insulated the actual base itself and put some insulation around the decoder, and I fixed it all with one of these what I call decoupage sticky things, which I managed to acquire from my wife's studio. She makes a lot of decoupage cards, so that's holding it in place. The only thing I have to do now is to fit these heat shrink sleeving over the joint between the two wires. I find one of the easiest way to just hold a soldering iron underneath, and that should shrink, and it will. Yep, it's starting to just tighten round the two joints. Maybe if I come in a bit you might see this. So let me just align here for the other one. Just try and close that lid. Whoops, I don't want to do that. So bring the other one across. Whoa, I'll put some tape on that at the end. Fit the heat shrink sleeving over the joint. There it is. And then gently bring the soldering iron up underneath, and that should just tighten. It's maybe a bit too wide diameter for the kind of wires that I'm looking for. I'll have to check what I've got. It says it's 1.5mm, so maybe a 1mm would have been easier. Anyway, that's it there, it's held in place, and now I can test it again. So I got 5 selected. It's going to go that way, so I'm just going to turn it up. What I should have said when I tested it before is I forgot the camera's actually upside down, so your left is my right. So it's going to my right, which is what it says. Come on, there it is. Whoops. Anyway, you can see it's working. So let's go and put it onto a track and we'll see how it goes. But of course I don't have a DCC layout. So I just got my ordinary DC layout. I disconnected the DC power, temporarily hooked up the DCC controller, and now I'm going to see if it works. Selecting 5, and I'm hoping it's going to go towards us. And here it comes, and it's quite nice and smooth, and stop. Now I'm going to make it go to the other way, which is to my right. So wind it up nice and smooth and bring it up, and that should come all the way round. Just have camera just now. Here it comes, and I'll bring it to a halt about there. That's my first ever DCC locomotive. I think it runs really nice, so I'm going to put the cover on it so that it looks like a Deltic, and possibly hook it up to a couple of nice LMS coaches. Well, I've got the cover back on, and of course, being a diesel Deltic, both front and back, or one side and the other, look pretty identical. So how can I identify which one's the front? Well, I wanted the motor bogie to be at the rear because I think it gives us more traction power. So how can I decide which side is which? Well, I carefully examined it and I found one little feature that's going to help me, and that is right on the roof, right in the middle, there is this little circular part, and that's the only real difference I can see between two otherwise fairly symmetric hearths. So I'm going to make this bit the front, so when I want it to go forward, this is going to go forward and this is going to go back. And in fact, the motor bogie is here and the pickup bogie is there. That's my Deltic sitting on the track. I've reprogrammed it to 55 to represent the fact that it is a 55, so there it is there. I've set it to go forward, and the way it's sitting forward is coming towards us when I operate the control. So let's try and arrange this and then wind it up, and there she goes nicely away. So let's follow around the track. Give it more power. That's at 40%. That's going pretty well. And to kind of confirm something I said earlier on, there is a forward and a reverse direction which is independent of the track. So this is it going forward according to the controller. So let me just bring it to a halt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the direction of the locomotive. So this is the front, I'm going to the back. So when I apply power, it will go forward. So the direction has to do with the locomotive and not the track power. So there she goes there. Very steady. I've only got about 40% power on, so give me a couple of minutes and I will set it up with a little rake of coaches. I got a nice little rake of coaches. There's no particular configuration, there's just three coaches out of my box. I just put them in the track. It actually consists of blood and custard and two Pullmans which I picked up at some of the shows. So let's see if I can pick them up using the reverse. Oh, it's gone the wrong way, of course. Facing the wrong way, in there, and hopefully pick them up. Change direction, and there we go. A little bit more speed, and that's a pretty nice looking locomotive, and it's operating under DCC control, so I'm going to have great fun later on setting some of the variables, maybe to get it accelerate, decelerate, and so on. So I'm just going to let it run around the track a couple of times. Hope you enjoyed the video. My first venture into DCCing a non-DCC locomotive using what was a second-hand decoder, and it only cost me, the locomotive cost me £10, decoder £1.67, a bit of time and effort, and there we go, a nice little runner. Okay, thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Comment if you would, nicely. Subscribe if you haven't done already, and give me a nice couple of likes. Until then, folks, keep watching, and bye for now.